Honorable Men Discord. 100 men versus silverback gorilla, or versus a gorilla. Period. Let's talk about it. So yes, you heard it right. 100 men versus a gorilla, and yes, I'm covering this. I'm covering this because I think it's humorous, and why not? Why not? Any any change from the norm, the Diddy talk, crimes, violence, um, is a good change. But I'm gonna fight through this rain in the background and my neighbor who consistently drags furniture and drops things. So allow me to work through this. So 100 men versus a gorilla. First and foremost, the 100 men lose. That's my opinion. 100 men lose every time out. Why? Because much like the the trending thing a few months back about if a woman has a choice between a bear and a man, who's she gonna choose if she's alone in the forest or something like that. This is the same thing. This is very vague, and to be honest with you, you know, at first thought, we lose every time out. Even on second thought, when you could add certain variables, we still lose. So first and foremost, 100 men, all different weights. Some men under 200 pounds. First of all the men under 200 pounds, I don't care how skilled you are. If you disagree with me, I'll see you in the comments. I don't care if you have a UFC background, a boxing background. The boxers who weigh like 140 and 147, that whole what division is that? I don't know, I believe that might be Javante Tank Davis and Rolo. And if you're under 200 pounds, you're getting washed. All right. I'm barely under 200 pounds. I'm most likely getting washed, right? I'm gonna be honest. I'm most likely getting washed. I'm gonna do my best to move around because I'm fairly agile, but I'm getting washed. Our best chance is if it's 100 men, they gotta be at least 250 and above. And even then, are those men agile? Are they like NFL players with twitch muscles? Because if not, they're getting washed also. But that's the best chance. You need 100 men that are at least, I want to say, 250 pounds and better. So we need like the power lifters. We need those guys that compete in those strongman competitions. 100 of them, and even then, I'm not quite sure. And they would all have to just. First of all, the gorilla has to be surrounded. Let's be clear. The gorilla has to be surrounded. And I think that's the only fair way of doing it anyway, because if the gorilla is not surrounded, that would mean the men are lined up in a line, which puts the guys in the front as an instant casualty, right? But we need at least guys that are 250 pounds. But if we have an array, I should say, an array of different height and weight, forget about it. Not only are we gonna lose, we're gonna lose in record timing. That's another thing too. It's just a matter of, I don't think the question is whether or not we would win. It's how fast would we lose. I think in 100 men versus a gorilla, particularly a silverback gorilla, it just comes down to how long could we stay alive. That should be the feat. So if we could manage to, if the last man standing should live for a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes, wow, incredible. But to think that we're going to beat the silverback, let's forget about it. Let's go straight to Wikipedia on this one, right? So gorillas are the largest, and I'm starting right from the middle. Gorillas are the largest living primates, reaching heights between 1.25 and 1.8, which equivalates to 4 feet 1 inch and 5 feet 11 inches. So they're not that tall, but here's where the problem comes. The weights between 100 and 270 kilograms, which is basically 220 and 600 pounds. Arm spans up to 2.6 meters, which is 8 feet 6 inches. Talk about an arm span, right? Depending on species and sex, they tend to live in troops. We're not even gonna get into that because we can't even afford another one joining the party. One's enough, right? They tend to live in troops, with the leader being called the silverback. All right, I'm gonna stop there because this is not about Wikipedia. So they tend to live in truth. So we're not even going to talk about a second one entering the party because party's done even faster, right? So here's some things that I just grabbed different things from across social media, different people speaking on it, which I just felt it was hilarious. But again, my stance on this is we lose. Anyone who thinks that 100 men are going to win, I'll see you in the comments. But don't try to tweak it to make it sound possible. Don't tell me it's 100 Bruce Lees or 100 whoever you respect out there. Don't, 100 Rock, Rock the wrestler, 100 Rocks. No, because that's not what they said. They said 100 men, which means it's going to be an array of men, which means you're going to have some intellectuals, you're going to have some with heart, you're going to have some men that are cowards, you're going to have some men that are fairly strong, you're going to have some men that are weak. That's just that's just what it is. So just looking at it from that standpoint, we lose, and not only do we lose, but again, we lose in record time. I mean, it would clean up. A silverback would clean up. I would salute the person who wants to go first. That person would be a martyr. The guy who says, I got it, I'll lead the charge, he's going to be on the mount. They'll etch a new face in Mount Rushmore for that guy, for having the balls to go and lead the charge. But for the most part, it's just a matter of just hit the watch, hit the timer. Let's see how long they last out there. All right. How long would men last out there would be the real challenge, because we're all dying. Absolutely. We're all dying pretty much, unless someone runs away. That's the only means of survival. But let's get right into this. This is a clip from Gil's Arena, excuse me, and they're speaking on this. So let's get into it.
No chance, 100 versus 1. So the average male gorilla is about 4'6", can weigh anywhere between 400 to 500 pounds, but capable of lifting up to 10 times their body weight. The average cannot do any of those things. 5'8", 195.
I thought if they were MMA fighters, maybe a slight chance. Regular people, 100 regular dudes off the street ain't got a shot in hell. Because one thing, you can't hurt them if you hit them.
Ain't no knives, ain't no guns.
Yeah,
it's run. Who wants to be the first example to step up over here? Let me show the rest of you 99 what I'm going to do to y'all when I catch you. And boom, 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 boom. Who's next?
Us four would have a hard time with a chimp. He'll wear our ass out in this motherfucker.
You ain't see the movie? Nope.
We seen Planet of the Apes. Took over the world. Who in the NBA world would you want with you among those 100 humans?
They can go first. All 450.
Give me Zion. I think Isaiah Stewart can get a gorilla run for his money one-on-one. Steven Adams, Draymond.
Punching,
Yeah, we throw Draymond out there first.
Yeah.
See how y'all scared of Draymond? Now watch what he do to this.
But he said they just got to be dedicated to the shit.
Dedicated to the what?
Die. I think you got a chance. You got a chance to die.
No chance, 100.
That's hilarious. They said throw Draymond out there. Talking is not going to save you against the gorilla. All right, so I got a former UFC fighter speaking on this. Let's see his take.
It's a gorilla versus 100 men. You get 100 men because the gorilla so clearly has the advantage. I agree. I don't think one guy could beat the gorilla. But with what evidence as fight experts do we come to that conclusion? I mean, after all, the gorilla will have absolutely no training. Not gonna be able to bite you and kill you. I don't just openly dismiss. It would take a few men to deal with the size of the gorilla. But you push it and it gets tired. And how many men would that take? What do you have to do to beat him? We know that the gorilla is not going to tap. My background, a wrestling background. Can we pin him? The idea.
I'll see you guys in the comments. This guy's very optimistic. I can respect that. He's got balls. He's former UFC fighter. I can respect that. The gorilla doesn't have a background experience in fighting, but it has all the other things that was mentioned in the previous video. All right. Enormous amount of strength, arm span, like I mentioned from the Wikipedia. You just saw in that video, in this clip, they just showed a gorilla like jumping up in the air. I mean, a backhand swing from a gorilla with that 8-foot arm span, even a backhand will send guys flying. Oh, and here's another reason why the 100 men, in my opinion, would absolutely get washed, is because here's the difference too. The men striking the gorilla is not going to really hurt the gorilla. Whereas the gorilla, whoever he makes contact with, whether it's by accident or intentionally, that person's going to be laid out. So that 100 number, it just sounds good before the bell rings, so to speak. So even if the men are out in the field and they see the gorilla and they're like, let's surround him, that number sounds good on paper until the action starts. That number starts to decrease rapidly, which is why I said it's just a matter of how long would they actually last out there with the gorilla. That's what it really comes down to. You want to say, if anything, the only thing you're looking for is who you're going to salute for being the first man in and the last man standing. Now, the first man in is most likely going to die. The last man standing is most likely going to die. But those are the ones that's going to be remembered and revered as, man, let's salute those two guys. He was the first one in, or he was the last man standing. That's what the competition's about at the end of the day. Let's be honest with ourselves, guys. This is not about whether or not we win this. All right? And if I'm wrong, then I'll see you in the comments. If you actually think that, that we'd win, okay. I can respect that optimism. It's a little bit of delusional optimism, but I'm willing to hear it. Let's continue.
A gorilla of any kind, a silverback, any way that you want to do it. The idea that you could possibly find 100 men so weak that they couldn't beat the gorilla is fascinating. But even more fascinating is those 100 men do exist. It's a gorilla versus
100 men. He's basically looking at it like the idea of us thinking that 100 men are so weak. Listen, we're not talking about men with weapons. We're talking about bare hands versus a gorilla's, And obviously he's standing tall on his 10 toes with that. So he actually believes there's 100 men that could pull off killing a silverback gorilla. But again, in his world, he probably has in his mind what type of men would be out there with the silverback gorilla, right? This whole trending topic is based on just 100 men. No, they didn't tell you get to choose who the 100 men are, right? And it's funny, before I even shot this episode, I was thinking to myself, the real question would be, and this is for those of you who come across this video, especially the subscribers, and by the way, hit the subscribe button, please, and like this video. The real question should be, what man, if he could be cloned 100 times, do you feel could beat the silverback gorilla? What man, if cloned 100 times, do you think could beat the silverback gorilla? Now, just for laughs and giggles, and he's not a fighter, but this is the guy that came to mind. Yes, J.H. Harrison 92. Look him up on Instagram. Former Pittsburgh Steeler. All right. Now I'm sure you're gonna say, "Oh, there's stronger guys than him," but I'm going with this dude. 100. If he could be cloned, and there's 100 of him out there, what is he working with right now? How much is that? Even with my glasses, I can't see it. It looks like it's 150 pounds. 150-pound dumbbells. If we clone him 100 times, maybe. Let's get to the next video.
Have you seen a silverback gorilla? It has muscles on muscles on muscles. Its chest is 3 feet thick. No, their muscle tension is like steel cables. They're built differently. Think about that. Steel aren't moving through a crowd. Those 100 men are getting knocked out. Have you seen a silverback gorilla?
This is what I'm trying to say. It's not about me not wanting to be optimistic for us men. We're talking about a silverback gorilla here. Okay? And I'm gonna play this without the audio because I don't want a copyright strike. This was a 3D animation by Old Nets. But just take a look at this. Now obviously in this depiction, the gorilla is not surrounded. But keep in mind, what makes you think the gorilla is going to allow men to surround him? The moment the gorilla senses fear, he's pretty much on the offensive. And that's a problem in itself, too. Because, once again, the 100 sounds great on paper. And I appreciate the optimism of the former UFC fighter. But in a real-life scenario, even if it's 100 men that he respects and reveres as alpha males that are willing to just lay it on the line, the moment the gorilla senses danger and he's gonna definitely initiate the whole fight, right? Even if the men try to initiate it, the gorilla's paying attention. The men would have to initiate it with the gorilla's back to them. That's the only way, with no weapons, there may be a chance. But from the moment you make contact with the gorilla, which again, the gorilla is not gonna feel the kind of pain that the man's gonna feel once the gorilla turns around, because the gorilla is strong and it's quick on its feet, it's fast. So once the gorilla turns around and now locks in on the danger, oh, it's a wrap. It's sealed and it's done. But let's look at this simulation just for laughs, all right? Again, no. Look at this. Now, first of all, even in the simulation, which is not accurate to the way it would happen in real life, the simulation, if you notice, when the gorilla strikes a human, the human, like within seconds, gets back up. That's not what's going to happen in real life. This is what I'm trying to tell you. That 100 sounds good on paper, but that 100 is going to decrease because the gorilla is going to be beating the shit out of the guys, right? You got guys that's still standing on their feet after getting swung on. Come on. It's sending guys flying. That's realistic. Look at the arms when it swings. Guys are flying away. It's not even like, listen, guys, this is not a street fight. This is not a boxing match. I don't even care if you got Mike Tyson. You could clone 100 Mike Tysons, and Mike Tyson's going flying. And Mike Tyson in his prime, by the way. Mike Tyson in his prime is flying. This gorilla is sending him flying. Look. And the funny thing about this is only if the guys choose to stick around after seeing guys flying. See, that's another thing about this thing that's hilarious. I enjoy this because of the humor in this, but you got 100 guys going after a silverback gorilla. You got to also keep in mind, we're human beings. When you see about 10 to 20 to 30 guys flying in the air because of what your goal to defeat is doing, some guys are retreating. Let's be honest, all right? Let's be honest. Some guys are retreating. You're not going to be attacking something that you're seeing dismantle guys with no problem. Now, if you're seeing guys putting up a fight and it looks like we're getting the best of the target, which is the gorilla, human nature, we're going to continue to pursue because we're seeing that we have a shot. But when you're seeing guys flying, being tossed over your head, landing in awkward positions, breaking bones, and you start looking at the bodies just laid out on the field, you're going to start saying, yeah. So you're going to be losing numbers based on casualty and from guys just out of fear. And again, some guys are not going to be even over 200 pounds. So those guys are going to look like Superman the way the gorilla's going to be throwing them. It's going to look like little children. It's going to be abuse. It's going to be abuse. Let's continue watching this video just for the hell of it. And this is just a simulation. Look at that. And then the gorilla starts stepping on people. It's the weight of the gorilla is going to be caving in chest. Now, this simulation took a minute. This simulation video was 1 minute and 7 seconds, pretty much. All right. I say the gorilla would destroy 100 men in less than that. Reason being because earlier on in the simulation, guys were still standing on their feet when they got hit by the gorilla, which is, come on, that's not happening. Let's go into Tony Ayo spoke on this. This was funny.
Who would win this fight? One gorilla or 100 men?
I would say the 100 men.
No.
With weapons or without weapons?
No weapons.
They can't use rocks or nothing?
No.
Nah, come on, bro. You wouldn't believe in 100 men?
Gorilla. Number one, a gorilla.
But if there was, let's be all real. If there was 100 men in a like a silverback gorilla,
yeah,
right. But what I'm saying is there got to be some kind of weapons involved because if we're in the forest or we somewhere we got rocks or whatever, it's 100 men with rocks. Yeah, you could beat that gorilla. Too,
not rocks, bare hands.
Nah, come on. So you mean to tell me they're gonna fight bare hands? Where they're gonna fight? Where it's just gonna be bare hands?
I don't know, football field.
Come on, bro.
Listen, I actually
gotta make it make
look,
sense.
Look, I actually
You
did
could
a
be
post.
something on the football field that's a weapon.
That's hilarious. I'll get into this last one. I thought this was funny. This is a short clip. Let's get into it.
100 men could beat a gorilla. No way. Yeah, they could. Dude, 1,000 men couldn't beat a gorilla. I think I could take it down by myself. Whoa, careful. They can't use weapons. Oh. I think 10 drunk divorced dads could do it. You're crazy. They would only need 9. 100 men could beat a gorilla.
Yeah. So I'm going to end it there. I listen. Sorry, guys. We lose that. We lose that. And if you don't think that we'll lose, then let me hear what you got to say in the comments. This is all for fun, guys. I mean, let's be for real. We don't win that at all. We don't. But that's all I have for today. As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.